Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of For the Love of Drag. It's your girl, Astala Vista here.
And I'm Jimmy Boone.
And you already know we are going to be your hostesses with the mostesses. And if you are watching video today, you see I literally have the mostesses in my arms. These are gigantic. I was like a Laffy Taffy over here. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about New Orleans on this episode. So if you did not see on Instagram, about 2 weeks ago, I was just booked at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette to host a student drag show. I had the time of my life. Jimmy and I both had so much fun.
It was great.
Out of all the newer drag artists, a lot of them are clowns nowadays, too, I've noticed.
I did notice, yep.
Out of the 8 of them, I think 4 or 5 were in clown makeup.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I'm here for this. Come on, Art the Clown, give him some redemption. No, we had the literal time of our lives out there. The school show was, I believe, on Wednesday, and we arrived on Monday. Yep. So we wanted to kind of tell you about our little adventures, because obviously we weren't just going to be sitting there for 2 days. We had to get into some mischief. So we want to tell you all about our trip to New Orleans. I guess I wanted to start because obviously I told them in the Nashville episode that I am the flight connoisseur over here, the discount diva, and that actually helped us stay an extra night in New Orleans. Yep. So if we flew in Tuesday to Thursday, it was actually more expensive than if we flew in Monday to Thursday and
getting
just paid for a hotel room. Yep. So I was like, babe, I'm doing a little math right now. A plus B equals
You said, is the math mathing?
Is the math mathing? And the math was mathing oh so amazingly. So we actually arrived on Monday at about 7:30 at night, which... that's the perfect time to go out in New Orleans, isn't it? So we hopped off our flight at about 7:30, 7:45 at night. I think it was like a smidget delayed. Ran to our hotel, and by 8:30 we were able to hit the streets.
Yep.
And
your goal was 9 o'clock, I remember, when we were there early.
That was it. Our goal was 9 o'clock to be out, and we made it happen. So I do not like to drink the day before I'm doing a show at a school. You don't feel good. It's just not the best. So I try to limit the drinking before a show at a school, a show at a school, to be very, very minimal. Now, I knew that I had Tuesday fully to do whatever. Yep. So I'm like, you know what? It's a Monday night. I have off tomorrow. It's time to get into some mischief. So we hopped off the plane, like I said, 8:30. We were finally out onto Bourbon Street. Yep. And that is when the fun began. So, Jimmy, do you want to tell them what we got into first?
So our first adventure was we went to, I believe it was called the Sazerac Bar at the Roosevelt Hotel?
Yes, it was.
Correct.
The Sazerac Bar.
So that was where the cocktail...
Was that our first drink of the night?
That was our
first
first
drink. We didn't have anything on the plane, nothing?
Did we have on the plane? We did have on the plane, didn't we? We did.
Wait, did we?
I'm thinking, didn't we?
I don't think we did, Jimmy.
Didn't we allegedly?
Oh, okay. We might have had one on the plane. You're right. We might have had one on the
plane. First drink in New Orleans.
First drink in New Orleans.
We went to the Sazerac Bar, which was at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Yes.
If you're familiar, there's a cocktail called a Sazerac, which we'll go over in a little bit. But this is the bar that originated it in the U.S., I believe, right? It was created in the UK or something.
I believe it started in London, and then it was taken over here, and this was the first bar to introduce it to the United States, like you're saying.
And it did not disappoint at all. I remember we were walking through this hotel lobby that had these like gold-plated everything, diamond chandeliers.
Let's just talk. So we just got off the plane. This is our first stop. I'm going to let you know that Astala Vista and Airport is going to be a comfortable girl. She's going to show up in a shirt that is a little ripped and has some stains on it. She's going to have basketball shorts on, or sweatpants, which also may have some stains on it.
Some eyelash glue.
A little eyelash glue, usually, because I wipe, or like the eyeliner that gets on the thumb from when you're trying to pull the little brush really tight. So I show up at the airport looking a mess, and I do it with pride. I don't care. And I walk right to my Frontier airline terminal thinking I'm that girl, okay?
You get on zone 1.
I do. I get on zone. I'm Frontier rich, bitch. But anyway, so I look a bum, and I didn't really want to change. I wanted to go out and have some damn fun. So we go. Jimmy, back to the story. Describe this venue.
You have to walk through the whole lobby of the hotel first. It is this beautiful, like Las Vegas Venetian-looking building where everything is like gold-plated and marble. Everything. The chandeliers are like 20 feet long with crystals and diamonds. Not diamonds, but crystals and shit.
Money.
Yeah. The rooms were probably easy, like $400 a night or something to that effect, without a problem. But we eventually mosey our way back down to the bar, and then you see the little bartenders in their cute little like tuxedo outfits, and all the like businessmen and their
everybody's
little
in a suit.
It's like one of those like you need to wear a blazer kind of place. But the Jersey gals that we are just sit our happy asses down at the bar.
Meatball Monday, bitches.
We just sit our happy asses down at the bar, and By the time we're sitting, you can't see what we're wearing anyway, so it really doesn't
and we
matter.
tip good as fuck. Okay,
Yes,
we're in
yes.
the industry. We get it.
We're good
Don't
peoples.
judge my outfit. All right.
So yeah, we had the
We went there
Sazerac.
for the original Sazerac. We had to do it. It was like the thing you do in New Orleans if you're into bourbon or whiskey, and we are.
Do you want to explain the recipe? What a Sazerac actually is?
Yeah. So a Sazerac. Oh shit. You ready for this? Because I'm gonna try my best right now.
You made him.
A Sazerac, it's basically a play on like a whiskey drink, like an old fashioned or a Manhattan.
Yeah.
This one is made though with an absinthe rinse in the glass. So basically what they do first is they chill a glass and they rinse it with absinthe. And then in a separate little glass, they mix a sugar cube, some Picard bitters, as well as whiskey. They mix that with ice, so it's stirred together. They pour that in the absinthe rinse glass, throw a little lemon peel on there, zest the lemon a little bit, and it's not served over ice either. It's just served neat, right? Neat.
Yep.
Holy shit, delicious. Yep. I love that too because, let me tell you, with an old-fashioned, my favorite drink, well, now a Sazerac might be, but an old-fashioned, it melts. As you're going throughout it tastes different as you're drinking. That one, the entire time, you're getting the exact same flavor. Obsessed.
And it's like a little roller coaster ride for your mouth.
It is the absinthe almost added like a velvety texture,
like a smoothness, and
like
then it's just
smooth.
like a little floral notes of this and that and herbal something or other. It's a little roller coaster.
It was
mouth, like
amazing. So that was our first stop. It was like the stereotypical like tourist / alcoholic thing you do. So we had to make that happen. After that, we were on this like absinthe train. We were like very excited. We're like, what is this like absinthe life here? So there's a place called the Absinthe House. There's another place that's very
Pirates Alley.
Pirates Alley. That's very absinthe based. So we were looking at them, and we decided to go to Pirates Alley to get a
Green Fairy cocktail.
A Green Fairy cocktail. So if you don't know, back in the day, up until 2007, absinthe was actually fully illegal because there's wormwood in it, and people thought that wormwood created hallucinogenic behavior.
Properties or
yeah. So it was never really tested by scientists up until, I guess, they finally made it legal again in 2007 to be like, oh wait, that doesn't really create that at all, and somebody must have lied.
One of the bartenders was explaining that it was around the same time where like there was a huge syphilis outbreak, which also causes hallucinogens.
Yes.
She
gave us good history.
Yep. So it was actually people just having extramarital affairs and whatnot and getting syphilis rather than the drink itself, and it's easier to blame the drink.
It on blame it on the alcohol. I get it. So we went to the Green Pirate Alley and we had to get the Green Fairy drink, which is pretty much an absinthe drink. If you've never seen this done before, the process is really fascinating. There is this like goblet filled with ice water, and there's 4 little spouts, one in each corner. Well, not a corner, it's a circle, but one on each side. And basically you put a little mini goblet underneath those 4 spouts. You put I don't know what to call it, a spoon?
It's like a little flat piece of metal with a bunch of holes in it.
Of little holes in it. You put a sugar cube on there.
A strainer.
And then you pour the absinthe and then 3 ounces of water over that, but extremely slowly. And the machine they actually do it where it drips, the little goblet thing, and it drips.
It's like a little water torture drip.
Extremely slowly. And then the sugar melts and it creates this like smoky, I don't even know how to describe it.
They said it's like a fairy dust
that's
that's
what
like
was the
forming
reason
at
for
the
that,
bottom. Something to do with, here's some chemistry for your ass. This is something to do with the different properties within the absinthe itself, because it's made from like anise and fennel and stuff like that. So like the different oils that are within that separate as the sugar and water go in with the alcohol, and it creates this whole like cloudy looking concoction, which is where they get the name Green Fairy from, because as you're dripping the water over the sugar, it creates like this like cloudy fairy dust at the bottom. So hence the Green Fairy.
So fancy.
I love a science experiment.
So we may have returned to New Jersey and bought a bottle of absinthe and a little thing.
We found some stuff.
We did. And honestly, too, like the absinthe they had there were very, very expensive. It's very reasonable at the liquor store.
Yeah.
That was
like
very,
$34.
Yeah, $35.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be like $100. I was like, that's
they
crazy.
did have some top shelf absinthe.
They definitely did. I mean, in New Orleans.
Yeah, I think we had one that was like 136 proof or something like that.
I think one was like 168 proof or something,
Holy
Jimmy.
shit.
Yeah, I think that was like supposed to be the end of it.
Yeah, it might have been. But the one we got was like 110 proof, so it's the beginner version, I feel like.
Fair. So we went there, and then after that, we were starting to feel the buzz, and it was time. Did we get food first?
I think we got that.
I think we got like
spicy chicken.
Some spicy chicken fingers, Cajun chicken fingers. Let me tell you, Cajun is not
mean.
White people friendly. Okay,
No,
we were dying.
no.
We could not handle it.
It was like flashbacks to the Nashville Hot Chicken Challenge.
It was bad. It was not what I wanted in my life. But I think I spent about $20 on like 3 chicken fingers and fries.
Yep.
So you better believe I ate every fucking one.
I had some fries. The fries were good.
The fries are fine. But after that, the tipsy was kicking in, and we wanted to do the next touristy thing. This is like the ultimate tourist thing. There's this drink, I believe it is called the hand grenade. Thank you so much, Evan.
Since this is inevitably going to turn into a For the Love of, where are we? New Orleans episode, I currently have a chicken tender, which is quite spicy, held in a drink thing. That's how good this trip is going. So, bye-bye.
So they have these at a place called Tropical Isle, which there's about 5 of them on Bourbon Street and the surrounding streets. There's like Bourbon Street, Decatur Street, Royal Street.
Yep.
So they're all spread out throughout there. I
Geography.
know, bitch. I know. I try. I was the one doing the maps the whole time. So it's served with this little like green grenade in it, and they were literally, no lie, it was actually kind of scary. Shit.
Bombs.
Those little grenades are just scattered across the floor on Bourbon Street. Like somebody could hide a neon green grenade and nobody would have a fucking clue. But they had a couple different options. There was a skinny one, a frozen one. I got the skinny one. Jimmy got the frozen.
Yep. They were like over ice or like a slushy.
Yeah, he liked the skinny one even better, actually.
I did.
But they were like a generic, like, not fruity, but not...
It was melon based.
Okay, like a melon liquor drink.
I'm usually not a fan of, but I will say that by that point in the night, after having the Sazerac and the other thing,
it was
the fruity thing was a nice little bounce. And it didn't like ruin the night. Like sometimes if you have like a sugary daiquiri or something like that in the middle of a night like that,
so you're about to talk about our next drink?
God. I think that one was later in the night.
Was it?
Because remember the bar?
No, I don't remember what happened.
I remember the order.
All right, Jimmy, take me after here. What
so
happened
after
next?
here, because if you remember, we went to the next bar and I still had some in mine. And the next bar we went to, I can't remember the name of it at all.
This is where they have the live jazz band. We were tipping them. Yep.
Yes. Okay. I don't remember the name of the bar, and it doesn't really matter. But we got a. You were trying to find this slow gin fizz drink, which is basically like a drink that's very similar to just water, but
I wanted the 15-minute shaken.
There's somewhere in New Orleans. There's a 15-minute shaken version where some asshole literally has to shake this cocktail for 15 minutes.
The foam is like literally 8 inches high and like wiggles on the thing, but stays on it. It's crazy.
Yeah. So when a slow gin fizz has some kind of like egg white component in it, to where you shake it, there gets to be like a little foam, like on top of like one of those like Harry Potter world. Butterbeer kind of things. So the longer you shake it, the more of the foam that can be produced. And we got one. The foam was probably a good 3 or 4 inches.
It was delicious and great. It wasn't that like photo fantasy I wanted. No. I actually only wanted it for the foam. I don't really like gin. However, I say that and then I loved the drink.
Yeah, it was. I have never liked gin before that either, and I was even drinking that more than mine.
You're like, okay, she's good.
Yeah, at that place, I got some kind of version
like
of a Manhattan, which
yeah.
I hate Manhattans. I didn't realize what I was drinking at the time. But I just remember that was the next place because I put this on the bar, and it was another one of those like fancy ass hotel bars, like you said, with a jazz band. And you're like, sorry, get that off the counter.
Literally.
Sorry. And then from there, we went to...
This was the last stop of the night? The last drink stop of the night?
Yeah, I think there is a more. Yeah, we only did for the first night. Yep. So the next was, I don't remember the name of the place, but it was for another staple drink, the Hurricane at...
The Hurricane is exactly what you think. It's a hurricane, and it's a hurricane inside your body, inside your mind.
Yeah, I was fine until then.
So Pat O'Brien's Hurricane's another one of those, like, you gotta do it in New Orleans, blah, blah, blah. I was like, fuck, I want to do all the touristy things. I'm not going to be here for long. Let's take advantage. We got it. That was the worst way to end the night. Sugar, disgusting.
No, I was really hoping it was going to be like the P-Town rum punch thing that we got.
Where you're like, oh my God, it's so good.
Like,
that's how these green things were.
Yep, that was like the equivalent to that. But this one, it didn't taste like there was a whole lot of alcohol. It just tasted like the grenadine, orange juice, like acid fest.
Yeah.
And no, it's like meant for the people that like don't actually drink, that are just getting that like one little cutesy drink.
Very like that. And then I believe that's when we finished off with our pizza.
Yes.
And girl, let me tell you, I was so excited.
Let's go.
Drunk me, I will still try my best. It doesn't happen all the time, but try to pretend that I am the little twink that needs to eat gluten-free and vegan. And usually when I get 4 drinks in, that's off limits. But I was determined to just.
They don't always have an option too at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
I know. But I found it. We found pizza. I think we spent like $25 on
it. It was $35.
Well, oh my God! Don't tell me that. Take that away.
For a pie.
Drunk food.
For
oh
one
my God.
pie.
But it was vegan, gluten-free, garlic chicken, fucking deliciousness. And we saved that, and we had like 2 slices that night.
It was 2 slices each night. Yeah.
2 the next night. We ate every bite of it. That pizza was delicious. I think it was called Luna Pizza.
Yep.
I will be going back there if I'm in New Orleans again.
That was absolutely great.
Mwah, chef's kiss.
And then I think we only honestly that whole event was probably like 2.5 3 hours.
Like we were in bed by like 11:30.
Yeah.
Like, like we were not like, I know this sounds crazy like The Hangover, but like no, we were like in bed by 11:30.
Yep. So we went back to our hotel, our lovely Holiday Inn. We're very reasonable travelers.
I love a Holiday
We
Inn.
love a Frontier airline,
Yep.
and we love a Holiday
Yep.
Inn.
I'm not better than anybody, bitch.
No.
Okay.
Main reason with the Holiday Inn too, 'cause went to bed, wake up the following morning. What do you get at the Holiday Inn?
Free breakfast, which I got every single day.
Yes.
Tuesday they had bacon. Wednesday they had turkey sausage.
The bacon was good too.
The bacon
It was extra
crispy.
crispy bacon. I know Holiday Inn breakfast. There's some like YouTube videos you can watch where it's like you don't want to eat it after you
But
watch
what
the
about
video.
those times where like you get to a Holiday Inn, like the airport ones, and they don't have the breakfast there?
Or they're like, oh yeah, the breakfast is $29.95.
I'm like,
I said, I've had your breakfast.
Get me
it's
out
not
of
worth
here now.
$29.95. I'm not eating that. Thank you so much. So yeah, we had our lovely little breakfast, and then we wanted to go. So the night before we did Bourbon Street, and then the following day we wanted to do Decanter.
so it's Decatur or
Decatur?
Decatur. I don't know
yeah.
exactly.
I'm not good at
Correct me
grammar.
in the comments. Look it up. Give me the pronunciation. Add the little like umdalvas under the U and shit or whatever. Ohms. I don't know what the fuck. they are.
Ohms? That's like-
umdala.
that's like
An
energy.
umdavla or something is something. I do a Dembala is what Chucky says.
Uberweiss.
No, Fitch. I don't know. I remember the two dots. There's a name.
Uber?
It's not an Uber, bitch. There's a name for it. It's an umda, I think. It's an umda. All right. Let's Evan. What's
Evan,
it
you
called?
finished college.
Evan,
You tell
what
us.
are the dots called under an U? Now that I forgot my point fully. What is it called?
We're all waiting on you, Evan.
Umlaut, bitch.
Umlaut.
Let's go.
Okay, so what was the point of that? We were talking. Oh, Ducator Street or whatever.
Ducator Street, which I don't even think it has an umlaut in there
No,
at all.
not at all.
But
We
yeah,
just wanted to go there.
that was where we went day 2. We wanted to do a little bit more like foodie stuff
And
that
like
day.
retail.
Retail, foodie stuff. So I believe we started that one with beignets or
The
no?
beignet place, yep.
Basically, there's a place there called Café Au du Monde or Café Au Monde. Look at me go.
in French.
And that is, I don't believe the originator of the crepe, but it's like, or not crepe, beignet, but like one of the most famous places for it there. When you type in beignet, New Orleans, that is like the place that comes up. There's a line. We had to wait in a little bit of a line.
Wasn't there one in the airport too? We saw.
There was one in the airport as well, yeah. And I will say, they're really delicious. I actually do think I recorded a little reaction video.
Oh yes, we did.
Maybe we could pop it
We
up.
did. We did do that, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did. We definitely did.
You did. Yes. Look at us
So
go.
we'll definitely pop that one up there.
Yes.
All right, guys, we are here in New Orleans, right here on Decatur Street. We just got to Café du Monde, and we are trying the famous beignet. I don't know exactly what it is, but Jimmy's gonna try it first. So let us know what you think. It looks very, very powdery and flaky.
Give funnel cake at first.
Okay.
Is it filled with something?
Love.
It's delicious.
Would you get another one? Would you recommend?
It's like a pancake meets a funnel cake.
Okay. We love to see
In a little
it.
dough ball.
I'm excited to try mine. There. I liked it. It was really, really good. Nothing to write home about, but like
No,
delish.
so I didn't feel like I was having something that I hadn't had before. If
Oh,
you've ever
fair.
had like the Italian like zeppoli or whatever
It
it's
was
called,
funnel cakey, right?
It was very much like that to me.
but
it was
just in like a easier form to eat.
fried dough with powdered sugar on top. Very good, delicious.
We
No
featured her.
complaints at
We
all.
liked her.
Can't complain.
And then after that, it was time for us to try a sandwich that we've heard a lot of people talk about. Jimmy was very skeptical to
I'm
try
scared
this
of a lot of
sandwich.
food.
He's scared as fuck of food, but this is a sandwich that I needed to try. It's called the muffuletta. It's muffaletta. So basically, from the story that we read, there was people from Sicily that came over to Louisiana and brought this sandwich and introduced this sandwich with this special olive salad
They
on
were
top.
able to get the ingredients in the sandwich that were like high quality Italian meats and olives and stuff from Sicily that like other people didn't have access
that
to.
couldn't get them here. So basically, it's like 2 different meats, some cheese, and this like olive salad on top of French bread, right? A French bread?
Sure. Yeah.
Whatever it was really, really good. And it comes in a giant circle, I'd say the shape of like a small pizza, and that's about $32 for a huge sandwich, or we got a half size, which was about $16. But let me tell you, it was incredible. We both went into this like, we're probably gonna have one bite and it's gonna be like a little weird thing and we're not gonna
We're
really
not big like
it.
hoagie people.
Yeah, like I don't really get like hoagies with olives and shit like that, but I was like, let's give it a try. Obviously, we're here. We're in New Orleans. We both loved it. We absolutely loved it. I would get another one when we go back.
I was very scared. I don't eat olives ever. I don't really like olives at all. I find them repulsive. But you worded it as, you said, Jimmy, it's literally just a charcuterie board on a sandwich.
Charcuterie board on a
Because it was
sandwich,
like
bitch.
fancy meats, fancy cheeses, the little olive salad, which
in
had
his
some other stuff in
defense,
it.
too, the process to get the original one is a little bit sketchy. So to get the original muffuletta, we had to go to like some creepy little, like, it's not creepy, but like a sketchy deli that looks very like...
It was like a bodega.
It was a bodega.
Like they weren't preparing
You
food
wouldn't
there.
have expected to be getting this traditional sandwich there, and there's just like one cooler in the back where that's where the sandwich is.
They're like, you want a half or a whole?
Literally. But they do also have other versions of this muffuletta sandwich at a shit ton of restaurants throughout New Orleans. They just have all stolen it from
They've like
this
adapted
original
their own version, yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Loved that.
Yeah, and then from there we just did some random shopping at all the little New Orleans shops from there. There was the French market, I believe we went to, that was very similar to like a farmer's market that you would go to in the area. That was cute. Is that when we also got the other sandwich too later that day? I believe it was.
Which sandwich is that?
The infamous po' boy.
Yes. We did. We also got a po' boy, which I don't know how they originated in Louisiana or what the tea is there, but they're very famous down south. And it's pretty much a sandwich that you could do just about fucking anything on now.
My perception of it is it's like that's what they refer to as a hoagie. Like we say hoagie, other places say sub,
like
other places
sub
say
hoagie,
whatever.
exactly. I do think the original ones are like mayonnaise, lettuce.
There's like a recipe.
And there is a little bit more classicness, but it was at the point there was like a gobbler version of
the
this.
Thanksgiving dinner. Yep.
You could have got anything.
There was an Italian like caprese, like the chicken, the spinach, and the roasted red pepper, and the mozzarella cheese.
Yep.
There was a couple.
That was the same night
Philly
that we went to
cheesesteak
that one very Louisiana restaurant, Mambo's. It was very like
that's where we had dinner.
Cajun.
Yep.
I got that red fish. That was delicious.
Yeah, it was like
little
fish
fried
with,
red fish
with
moment.
crab cake in it or something like
So
that.
damn good.
I had the basic cheeseburger because I have to try a cheeseburger from everywhere that I go.
Of course. And I think the other food, too, that we need to talk about is the pralines that we got to try. They're another one. Now,
pralines.
he loved them. I think I have a reaction video of me eating one of them. They're fine, but, like, it's eating sugar. It's a sugar patty.
Yeah,
Like
it's literally like granulated sugar with some kind of like butter or something that like made it a little moister than just sugar, and it's delicious. And then sometimes they have pecans and other things. There's also a chocolate one. We did not try the chocolate
You're
one.
right. We need to do
that
better
one would have
next
slapped, I
time.
think.
But I think after that, we got like a drink somewhere. We did something else, and then pretty much chilled that night because we knew we had the show the next day. And the show was about 2 hours away from where we were staying. I knew I was going to have to get up early, paint my face. So we had a chiller night. And then I believe that was when we woke up Wednesday and kind of just like started.
Yeah, we pretty much got our breakfast again. That was the night after. We got our breakfast. We basically just got our stuff ready for the show. It was, like you said, a little under a 2-hour drive to the university.
I don't really remember too much about Wednesday morning. I don't think we did really much at all.
No, I don't think we left too much really at all. Maybe we went for a little bit of a walk.
Got
nothing
ready.
crazy. Yep.
Got everything all
Went
together.
to the school. We had a great time at the school.
Yes, a lot of fun at the school. That school gagged me because obviously it's in Louisiana, and when I walked out to the stage, there was literally a painting of Shrek, and it said, "Get out of my swamp." I lived my best life.
Yeah, no, it was a great time. It was the school's 14th annual drag show.
14th annual.
They had to take a year off or something like that because of some inner workings within their organization and whatnot. But this was their first year back, I think.
And
since
everybody did so
It was so
amazing.
good.
If
So
anybody behind the scenes is listening to this, I know you guys were so stressed trying to make everything go. You guys did amazing. That was such a fabulous show. Behind the scenes, everything ran so smooth. Please know you guys slayed, okay?
so organized, the whole outline.
Literally,
everything. It was great.
mwah,
Absolutely,
chef's kiss.
fantastic. And you could tell all of the students that were involved in the show too. It was like a student competition, right?
Yes.
So there was 4 queens, 4 kings. They kind of like went head to head, and then there was a top 2 for the kings, a top 2 for the queens, and then there was a winner for each category.
Little lip sync for your life moment.
It was great. It was a little mini drag race kind of moment.
Like I felt like I was watching a little episode of Drag Race.
Judges,
so
was
I got to
judges.
host that. I had a blast doing that. We were out of there by probably like 8:30, right? It wasn't even
8:30,
too late.
9 o'clock, yeah.
Got back home at around like 10:30ish.
Yep, because it was a cute little hour and a half, and then we decided that we needed to try another green fairy.
We did. Okay, so they had a bunch of different green fairies, and we're like, well, let's just go get get
The
one
place
drink.
we went, they had 4 different ones. The first night we did end up getting the same one, and then the second night we wanted to try a different one. And I think this is actually when you got the frappe one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, so this is when we went to Absinthe House.
yes.
That is when we met that lesbian bartender
Yes.
who were actually we follow each other on Instagram
Drea,
now.
I believe her name was.
Yep,
Andrea
literally. We walked in and then like she like started pointing at us.
Yep.
And then like we like kind of walked over that way.
Yep.
And she's like, "Oh my god, when I seen you guys come in, she's like, I had to have you."
She said,
That's
she said I
like-
called you.
I called you. I was
And then she was
dying.
like, I needed to help you guys because I'm too.
She said, "Cause I'm too. I died.
That's the best way to approach
Yep.
queer people. It's just-
So we made friends with her. We got an absinthe frappe, which
Yes.
I don't really know what the fuck it is. I'm not going to say or tell you I do.
It
but was
seems similar to the Green Fairy, but like poured over ice to be more of like a slushy.
a little bit
kind
more of a
vibe.
slushy
Yeah.
moment. Absolutely delicious. Loved that. From there, I think we went home, right?
Yeah, I think we just did that
We
one.
grabbed a quick bite to eat or something really, really quick.
Yep.
then
And we
went
also
home.
had the pizza from leftover.
Oh,
from,
we knew we had leftover
and
pizza.
the
I don't even think we did
muffuletta.
grab anything to eat. I think you're right. I think we already knew we had the pizza, and we're like, we'll be fine.
Yeah, that was great.
And then the next day, well, that was our last night, so we didn't go too crazy. You know what I mean? We knew we had a flight the next day.
Yep.
But we did. That's one thing we did not talk about. We did realize that night that there was so many tours going on that we would
Yep.
be able to catch the next day before our flight.
Yep. And one more thing too that we realized that night was there is a staple fast food establishment that I had never even really heard of before called Crystal.
Crystal.
With a K. Very much like a White Castle. Seems like a White Castle.
Much like a White Castle or an exact knockoff of a White Castle.
They didn't have mozzarella sticks.
So basically, if you look into Crystal and White Castle, the owner of Crystal even admitted he literally stole everything from White Castle.
Yeah, you said it like a couple years after he went
It was
there.
like 10
"Whoops."
years later, and he's like, yeah, like I might have gotten some inspiration from White Castle, you know, since we're exactly identical. No big
Little
deal.
burgers this big, square,
Yep.
onions, cheese, everything.
Chicken version,
Yep.
like identical. So
So yeah, we didn't eat there that night, but I am a sucker for a fast food breakfast. And they actually have a breakfast where you can get 3 eggs, any style, at a fast food place.
He lived his
I don't know
best
why
fantasy.
that excites me so much.
He
but
lived
it
his
does.
best fantasy.
So I got my 3 eggs and my little fantasy there, and then from there we went on to our we did a couple little errands.
Well,
from there.
we
got
went
some
voodoo hunting. That
voodoo
was
hunting.
obviously, you know, New Orleans. It's a very famous city for voodoo and ghosts. There's lots of ghost tours. That's actually why Jimmy's wearing his Good Guy shirt today. If you've never seen the Chucky movies, that's very voodoo based. That's
Yes,
the reason
yes.
he's able to be a living doll. So speaking of living dolls, I want to show you our voodoo dolls we got. We got the entire office voodoo dolls, and when I say the entire office, I mean everybody. I'll show you what we mean. So first things first, we got Jimmy and I an adorable little True Love voodoo doll. If you guys are watching this, you can see it, but if not, I'll describe it. It's this little black voodoo doll with pink yarn and green little like stains on him. He's got really crazy looking hair, a scarf around him, a little bag. I don't know what he stores in there. His voodoo powers, maybe a dime.
His love potion.
His love potion. That's probably exactly what that is. So we got this little guy. This store was very, very, very authentic that we got these from. It was called Marie Laveau's House of Voodoo. This was the kind of place that sold like vials of like pig blood. I don't know, like,
yeah, like all kinds of stuff.
all kinds of crazy stuff, apothecary-esque type
That's a
stuff.
good way.
Very-
Oils and herbs and
Very,
sage.
very
and
cool.
All that kinds of stuff.
So that one was just like a love voodoo doll. What I believe you're supposed to do is like have this for true love, whatever, blah, blah, blah. The next one, this is the one that's supposed to be like the pokey kind of voodoo doll where you're supposed to hurt people. So this is the one. We got Sarah one as well in pink. This is the one that has little pins on it. And basically it came with instructions that said what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to like imagine that it's this person, poke them, and they're going to be able to feel it. I think Evan tried it with one of his friends. I don't know how well it worked. Maybe it's on set. Maybe it's delayed. Maybe it happens next week. It has to like send itself via email.
They're very
I don't know.
set out.
And then obviously it would not be fair if poor little Marilyn, our office cat, who is the hardest working employee at Dry Clean Entertainment, did not get a voodoo doll. Now, obviously we had to pay the pet tax, and her voodoo doll is the smallest yet was the most expensive. But there was an adorable little pet store there. I do have the name of it on this tag, called Southern Paws. And Miss Marilyn does have her own little authentic New Orleans voodoo doll stuffed plush.
kinda looks like a little
It even
version of
says
this
New
one.
Orleans voodoo doll. It does. That's the baby. That is the baby right there.
That's so cute.
So everybody got their voodoo dolls. I was very excited to go to a voodoo shop. I really wanted to get the experience. There's also another bar that we got to do that day that was vampire themed.
Oh, the Vampire Cafe.
Yep.
I forgot about that one.
Yep, and all of the cocktails there, they were actually named after blood type.
Yep.
So it was AB positive, AB negative. Such a cool
Some of them were
concept.
served in blood bags.
Served in blood bags, an absolute gag. But the end of that day, before we got to the airport, our flight was at about 7, I think we had to be at the airport. The one thing that we really, really, really wanted to make sure we did. Now, we got to go to this Taylor Swift haunted house called the Scarers Tour. So we got to see some like old architecture. We got to walk across the trolleys and streetcars.
Streetcars, yep.
We got to see the Mississippi River. We got to do all that.
There's a lot of culture.
There's a
in New
lot of
Orleans.
amazing
Yep.
stuff, but there's one thing that like we did not want to leave without, and that was the swamp tour. So we did book a swamp tour. It was only $35 each, which is
Incredible.
an incredible deal. It was almost 2 hours long. When I tell you our tour guide, and I mean this as the highest compliment, so please know that, gave you the hillbilly fantasy that you wanted and then some. Like this guy like wrangled alligators at 12 years old.
He knew them swamps.
He knew them swamps. The amount of things I learned on this tour was so crazy. The company is called Cajun Encounters. They actually were hired by Disney a couple years back, but I think 2009 is when Princess and the Frog came out, right? To actually explore that bayou and get all of the like insights and take footage, because that is what they modeled. The bayou
like
in
the
Princess
sound
of the
effects that you hear in Princess and the Frog were recorded like live on the same rivers and stuff that you'll go on.
They
in this
literally
tour.
like recorded the sounds there, like absolutely insane. So we got to see alligators, wild pigs, I don't even know. Raccoons. There was so much crazy shit.
Yeah,
it was insane.
It was incredible. We have a lot of footage. I'll have Evan put some of it in the clip as well, because we got a lot of good footage.
It was
I was
amazing.
fortunate enough to, before my dad died, we went to a similar swamp tour thing in the Everglades in Florida, and like right by Disney World and whatnot. And I'll be honest with you, we went on one of those big boats that had the big fan in the back.
Gotcha.
Kind of like glide and whatever. And if we saw maybe 2 alligators from 500 feet away, like that was the best thing we had there.
Oh, wow.
And then literally, I think as soon as we like pulled around the first little corner, the guy was like, "Well, there's an alligator coming up on our left," and sure
like
as shit,
a giant
there
alligator on a
was-
log.
there was just an alligator chilling right there, and then it just kept going from there.
Yeah.
Alligators. They were talking about the snails and all the little shit that's invaded.
Oh yeah, there's like these snails that lay eggs that if you like touch it, you just go numb.
Yeah, so like all over the tree trunks and stuff, there are these little pink, like they look like circus
Bubblegum.
peanuts.
Looks like bubblegum smush.
Sure. And then apparently, if as a human, if you touch them, there's this like neurotoxin that makes your fingers go numb and your whole body go numb. Insane.
So that is how we finished off the trip. We did a little Tour de la Bayou. Actually, right after the Tour de la Bayou, we did grab one more thing. In Louisiana, they have drive-through daiquiri bars, multiple, everywhere. I don't know how it's legal. Please explain, if you live in Louisiana, how is this okay that I could drive through and get a daiquiri with shots in it and then drive away? That's not okay.
Extra shots.
Extra shots. So we did get one of those to bring to the airport, and we sucked it down before we had to go through security. Well, one each. So we can have a nice flight home, a long flight home. And with that being said, I will tell you, New Orleans is possibly my favorite city that I've ever visited.
I can agree with that. From just in like a global aspect of it, like I had
Something for everybody.
I had a great time in Nashville. I've had a great time in Miami. I've had a great time in Vegas. Miami and Vegas are kind of expensive if you want to do anything there. Drinks are expensive. Any activities are expensive. Nashville was a great time. Wasn't too expensive, but it's very country based. Very like white for the most part. That's honestly all I felt like when we were down there. But New Orleans just had so much culture and so much history. Like it felt like we were in a place that was like older than America.
Ooh,
like
I
some
love
of the
that.
like architecture and the stories and everything like that. It just felt like we were experiencing something.
Like
that we were
America's a very young country, but I felt the culture and the history there.
We were saying we've been to Puerto Rico quite a few times, and it had like
That's the only other place I really feel that culture.
Yeah, like if you've ever been to Old San Juan, it had like a very similar vibe to Old San Juan with some of the like architecture and the like not cobblestone streets, but like the old feeling streets and like and I don't know. It was just it was a very nice experience. I wasn't really expecting, to be honest with you. I was expecting it to be a little more like doo-doo-doo.
No, I'm like my birthday's coming up, and I think I want to do an overnight.
Yeah, like we were saying Vegas was probably going to be our next like fun girls trip, but no, I can see
Vegas
New
is,
Orleans.
like you said, so absurdly expensive.
And it's like you're going to be going to a lot of shows and locked in this
That
place
one's
and locked
for
in that
like
place. Yeah.
40th birthday or something.
Yeah.
Crazy big event, but I had the time of my life, and I cannot wait to go back. The shirts, too. We didn't even get to talk about them.
Oh my God, they're the
funniest
best
shirts
like,
I've ever fucking
boardwalk
seen in my
shirts
life.
ever. Yes.
I've been sucked, shucked, and eaten raw, and it's like a crawfish on it.
Yep.
And you're like,
I can't even remember what half of them
there's
were.
so many
but
good ones.
So many good ones.
But yeah, I think consensus is if you have the opportunity, please go visit New Orleans, or Nolans. That is how they all are cited
NOLA.
out there. NOLA. You will have the time of your life. If you're into dancing, you're going to have a good time. If you're into nature, you're going to have a good time. Right now, if you're into Taylor Swift, you're going to have a great time. Okay, that Scarers Tour House, incredible. There is something for everybody to do there.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. And like I said, there is just so much diversity as well. Like the music, for the most part in Nashville, was mostly country. You'd occasionally get a country artist like covering a pop song, but like every different bar that you were walking past had a completely different sound, a completely different vibe. Some places were doing top 40 stuff. Some places had like a live jazz band. Some places had a live cover band. There was some country stuff as well.
Yeah.
It was just, there was something for everybody. No matter who was in your group, you could find something that everybody liked to do
Fully.
night. And everything was in very close proximity to each other within walking distance. There was a few different streets, but they were all within very close walking
I
distance.
think my verdict that I said at the end of the trip to Jimmy, I said I give New Orleans, it was a 10, but I lowered it to a 9.98 because there is a lot of cockroaches.
Lots
and
of
rats.
cockroaches.
I'm not
Big
going to lie.
ones. Big
Huge
ones.
motherfucking Madagascars running around, okay?
They were like, I had never seen them that rampant.
That took like a smidge of a point off, but seriously, if you can ever go because you will have the time of your life, all right?
No, truly.
With that being said, Jimmy, I think we did this entire episode without a break.
We did.
We just rambled. We just started
These
going.
traveling trip ones, we kind of do that.
They are my favorite, though. I love to relive it because sometimes I don't remember.
This is going to be a very good like scrapbook for us too, because we can.
Look
what
at
did
that.
we do?
Is this a scrapbook in 2024?
I mean, essentially, this is like
It
a
is.
video blog kind of moment. So, what's the difference, right?
Well, next week I think we're adding a friend to our scrapbook, aren't we? We
I
have a
think
special
we
guest coming up,
absolutely
don't
are.
we? Should we tell them who it is now?
Why not, right?
All right, so next week we are very, very excited. We're going to be welcoming Miss Demi Goddess all the way from Asbury Park. We have been dying to get her on the pod. We have a lot of special guests that we have planned. It's just coordinating, and we cannot wait to bring more special
Our
guests.
schedules, their schedules, everything is hard.
Honestly, what we need to do, it's going to be after the new year. We're going to plan like months in advance and get this shit on lock. But Demi Goddess will be our next special guest, so please be on the lookout for that pod coming next week. Right now, though, however, I have some very special thank yous I need to give. I want to give it up right now for all of our sponsors at the Close Fam tier. Woo, boo, 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 boo. And then I also need to give it up for the HBICs, the Call Me Mother sponsors. Can we give it up for Barbara Rambo? Woo, 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 woo. Kathy P. Woo, 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 woo. The Drag Fan 27. Ow, ow, ow. And last but certainly not least, Barbella Whiskey. That's how we were acting on Monday night in New Orleans, honey.
That's what we were doing.
So with that being said, guys, we'll be back next week with For the Love of Demi Goddess. Be sure to give her a little follow on Instagram right now. I don't know her exact handle, but look her up.
It's Goddess Demi.
Goddess Demi. Yeah.
GAWDESS.
Get to know her a little bit before
Demi.
we drill her.
Awesome.
And with that being said, I guess hasta la vista until next time. Bye, guys. Have a great
Bye-bye.
night.